Vishupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Sotra Sotra Shishimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Vishupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Sotra Sotra Shri Shri Mad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 5. Vidura's Talks with Maitreya, Text 25. Sa va etasya samdrishtuhu shaktihi sad asad atmika maya nama mahabhaga yayedam nirmame vibhuhu sava etasya samdrishtu shakti sada sadatmika maya nama mahabhaga yayedam nirmame vibhuhu sava etasya samdrashtu shakti sada sadatmika maya nama mahabhaga yayedam nirmame vibhuhu sava etasya samdrashtu shakti sada sadatmika maya nama mahabhaga yayedam nirmame vibhuhu. Pundits. Savaetasya samdrishtu shakti sada sadatmika maya nama mahabhaga yayedam nirmame vibhuhu. Savaetasya samdrashtu shakti sada sadatmika maya nama mahabhaga yayedam nirmame vibhuhu. Savaetasya samdrashtu shakti sada sadatmika maya nama mahabhaga yayedam nirmame vibhuhu. Savaetasya samdrashtu shakti sada sadatmika maya nama mahabhaga yayedam nirmame vibhuhu. Savaetasya samdrashtu shakti sada sadatmika maya nama mahabhaga yayedam nirmame vibhuhu. Mothers. Savaetasya samdrashtu shakti sada sadatmika maya nama mahabhaga yayedam nirmame vibhuhu. Savaetasya samdrashtu shakti sada sadatmika maya nama mahabhaga yayedam nirmame vibhuhu. tasya samdrashtu. Shakti sada sadatmika. Maya nama mahabhaga. Yayedam nirmame vibhu. Sa, that external energy. Va is either. Etasya, of the Lord. Samdrashtuhu, of the perfect seer. Shaktihi, energy. Sat asat atmika, as both the cause and the effect. Maya nama, called by the name Maya. Mahabhaga, O fortunate one. Yaya, by which. Idam, this material world. Nirmame, constructed. Vibhuhu, the Almighty. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. The Lord is the seer, and the external energy which is seen works as both cause and effect in the cosmic manifestation. O greatly fortunate Vidura, this external energy is known as Maya, or illusion, and through her agency only is the entire material manifestation made possible. Purport. The material nature, known as Maya, is both the material and efficient cause of the cosmos, but in the background, the Lord is the consciousness for all activities. As in the individual body, the consciousness is the source of all energies of the body, so the supreme consciousness of the Lord is the source of all energies in material nature. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9.10 as follows. Mayadhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam etunanena kaunteya jagadvi parivartate. Throughout all the energies of material nature, there is the hand of the Supreme Lord as the final superintendent. Due to this supreme cause only, the activities of material nature appear planned and systematic, and all things regularly evolve. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jaina Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Jatapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shra Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitansha. Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu, Dinabandhu Jagatpate, Gopesha Gopika Kanta, Radha Kanta Namostute, Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Rishabhanu Sute Devi, Pranamami Hari Priye, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Shrimati Vaisheshika Das Adhikari Iti Namane Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Okay, I would like to begin my class with a little plug because it's the marathon. So, Ali Krishna Prabhu, do you have the control over? Okay, I'm going to send you a quote, and if somebody has a mic, we could read it also. This is a letter to Bali Mardan. It's the marathon, so we all need a little encouragement. Just a short paragraph. Send it to you on WhatsApp. You can read it for the pleasure of the devotees. I don't know if y'all can see that. Can you read it? There you go.
My blessings. I beg to acknowledge receipt of your books, which I find very, very nice. Actually, this book production is most important, and you have pleased me very much. Just go on and flood the whole world with these Krishna books. I hope this letter meets you well, and your ever well-wisher, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami.
Jai. Flood the whole world with these Krishna books. I thought this was really sweet. And we can see this is the desire of our Param Guru, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And even in his own life, Srila Prabhupada was out in Delhi in the 1950s distributing his Back to Godhead magazines. And there's a wonderful article, if you all haven't come across this yet. It's called No Time. And Prabhupada wrote this, I think, in 56. And Prabhupada was going out and sharing his copies of his literature. And the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, who had the whole Guru Parampara behind him, the people in Delhi were telling him, I have no time, Swamiji. I have no time. And Prabhupada is explaining in this short article that death waits for no man. And even some are so attached to this world that at the time of death they're asking, give me more time. I have not finished up my worldly duties. I'm attached to making more money. And so we can feel some determination in our efforts to spread the mission, because even Prabhupada was being rejected on the streets, telling, I have no time. I have no time, Swamiji. It's a nice article. If devotees feel inspired, they can research that. But yeah, Prabhupada was the greatest book distributor of all time. And the message of the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, Tadvag Visargo Janataga Viplavo Yasmin Pratishlokam Abhadyavatyapi Namanyanantasya Yashon Kintaniyat Shrinvanti Gayanti Grinanti Sadavaha. That the message of the Srimad Bhagavatam is to create a revolution in the lives of this world's misdirected civilization. And we see from the pages of the Srimad Bhagavatam, today we're hearing from the talks with Vidura and Maitreya, and they have a very intimate relationship, a relationship of guyam, intimacy, of inquiry. And I was just in Vrindavan with my Guru Maharaj and a group of sincere devotees, and we actually read the whole third canto in just a few weeks. And one can feel a little daunted in the task of their daily sadhana, because you look and a page is so thin. You say, how am I going to read all these books? There's 12 cantos, there's thousands of verses, 18,000. But if one just does due diligence of daily making the effort to hear about Krishna, he'll do all the work, actually. The Bhagavatam says that Krishna is the vidhunoti. It means that he enters the heart of the devotee and he removes all the anarthas, the unwanted things. And it behooves one to lend an ear to the message of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And there's a beautiful statement found buried within this canto. And Srila Prabhupada says that the most beautiful thing in the world is actually the Bhagavad Gita. So we should all become faithful devotees. And there's a word that describes this called the Shraddhadana. The Shraddhadana devotee hears with great faith, and they undergo great labor to understand the message of the spiritual master. And we can see that those who are very dexterous in Krishna consciousness are expert at controlling the mind and senses and engaging all of their energy and activities in rendering service to the Lord. With great labor, one should hear the message. The 6 Goswamis are revered and exalted for spreading the message of the Vedic literatures. Nana Shastra Vichara Naika Nipano Saddharma Samstapako Lokanam Padino Tribhuvane Manyo Sharanya Karo. Just as the 6 Goswamis scrutinizingly studied all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all humanity, we should also scrutinizingly study the books left to us by our grand spiritual master. His Grace Chandanacharya Prabhu was making a wonderful point in yesterday's class that we're actually never separate from Krishna. And this is found in one of the greatest works of our Guru Parampara, the Brahma Samhita, wherein it is said, Sanityo Nitya Sambandha Prakritis Chat Paraivasa, that the living entity and Krishna, they have an eternal kinship, and they're bound together with this love and affection. And earlier in the purports we've been hearing, there was mention of the Chatur Sloki, the 4 verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And in there's a beautiful statement that is said, the internal energy of the Lord is a direct manifestation of his internal potency. So that when we receive an order from Krishna, we can understand that if we take shelter of it, we'll become Prabhupada would use this term, under the spell. We'll become under the spell of the internal energy when we follow Krishna's order. And it's by following that order that we'll be able to see Krishna face to face. And we all need a little encouragement in our spiritual lives. So Ali Krishna Prabhu, I'm going to have you pull up another verse. This is from the 2nd canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And this will give us some motivation to carry out our services in the marathon. Canto 2, chapter 9, text 19. This is a very famous verse. Go to the translation, please. And seeing Brahma present before him, the Lord accepted him as worthy to create living beings, to be controlled as he desired, and thus being much satisfied with him, the Lord shook hands with Brahma and slightly smiling addressed him thus. The creation of the material world is not blind or accidental. The living entities who are ever conditioned or nitya buddha are thus given a chance for liberation under the guidance of his own representative like Brahma. The Lord instructs Brahma in Vedic knowledge in order to diffuse this knowledge to the conditioned souls. The conditioned souls are forgetful souls in their relationship with the Lord, and thus a period of creation and the process of dissemination of Vedic knowledge are necessary activities of the Lord. Lord Brahma has a great responsibility in delivering the conditioned souls, and therefore he is very dear to the Lord. Brahma also does his duty very perfectly, not only by generating the living entities, but also by spreading his party for reclaiming the fallen souls. You guys are part of Brahma's party. The party is called the Brahma Sampradaya, and any member of this party to date is naturally engaged in reclaiming the fallen souls back to Godhead, back to home. Srila Prabhupada ki! Good. The Lord is very much anxious to get back his parts and parcels, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita. No one is more dear than the one who takes the task of reclaiming the fallen souls back to Godhead. There are many renegades from the Brahma Sampradaya whose only business is to make men more forgetful of the Lord and thus entangle them more and more in material existence. Such persons are never dear to the Lord, and the Lord sends them deeper into the darkest region of matter so that such envious demons may not be able to know the Supreme Lord. Anyone, however, preaching the mission of the Lord is in the line of the Brahma Sampradaya is always dear to the Lord, and the Lord, being satisfied with such a preacher of the authorized bhakti cult, shakes hands with him in great satisfaction. So we can feel that when we go out on Sankirtan, Krishna is very pleased with us, and he's giving us a fist bump and saying, Bajram Te, may all good fortune be upon you. So, in today's purport, we're hearing about this principle of the seer and the seen, and this was enunciated again and again by Sri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that we're actually meant to give pleasure to the Lord, and he is simply witnessing our activities, that we should behave in such a way to where Krishna wants to see us. And there's a beautiful story that I heard recently about the Gaudiya Mutt. And there was a little boy living in a village, and he came to the Mangal Arti at the temple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And it was mostly sannyasis. And there was this little boy there. And they said, there's no grihastas or anything. So they said, where'd this little boy come from? And he said, well, I heard in my village that if you hear the Guruvastakam during the Brahma Muhurta, then one can go back to Godhead. And that's a promise given by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, right? In the end of the Guruvastakam, we sing the 8 verses every morning, but there's a 9th verse, for those who weren't aware. And in the 9th verse, it's stating that one who sings this prayer loudly to the Lord of Vaikuntha, or maybe it's Vrindavan, Krishna, whoever recites these prayers to Krishna very loudly will go back to the spiritual world. So this boy said, well, let's try it out. And it was a very touching scene. It was one of, like Dhruva Maharaj, this little boy coming. And the sannyasis said, well, how did you get here? Your village is so far. And he says, I walked. And so they went to bring him to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Prabhupada was very pleased, and he said, get this little boy a bicycle. So he was able to come every day and sing to the deities. So we should have this same feeling of crying out to the Lord and, being seen by him. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, there's so much to learn from our previous acharyas. And one principle that he taught was that we should not try to become great devotees, but we should just try to become good devotees. But in order to become a good devotee, you have to chant great japa. And in order to do this, you should organize your life in such a way to where you can chant ferocious rounds. And there's a name given in the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Sutta Goswami, who is being praised by the sages at Naimisharanya, he is given the name Ugra Shrava. So we've all heard of Ugra Nrsimha, ferocious, ripping apart the demon Hiranyakashipu with nails that are like chisels, and his teeth are like thunderbolts, and he's decorated with a garland of intestines. And Jadharani Mataji was making the painting, and Prabhupada said, more blood, more blood. So, Ugra Shrava is a name for Sutta Goswami, and this is a name for one who is a fierce hearer, who hears regularly from the Shastra, from the Guru, and from the sadhus. And in today's purport, we're hearing about this topic of Prabhupada gives it's actually quite nice when you find verses from the Gita in the Bhagavatam, because Prabhupada won't give a direct, he doesn't like copy and paste like the translation that's found in the Gita. He'll give like a different rendition of it. And I really like today's, that's from the 9th chapter. Prabhupada is saying that that the Supreme Lord is the final superintendent. So I've been thinking about that lately. How do we understand that our lives are being controlled by the hand of Krishna, by the hand of the Lord? And one could question and say, how can I see Krishna's hand in my life? And the best way to do that, the authorized way to do that, is to be close to his representatives. The devotees, the Vaishnavas, our gurus, Diksha, spiritual master, our Shiksha gurus. And when Srila Prabhupada was on the Avadhuta, he wrote many prayers and songs. And Prabhupada was saying that his only solace was in the pages of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And there's a beautiful prayer that he writes. There's some famous stanzas that Prabhupada quotes from the Bhagavatam, which we all know. I won't go into those right now, but I may have to, because I'm addicted to the first canto. But anyways, there's a beautiful prayer that Prabhupada writes from Prahlad Maharaj. Evam janam nipatitam prabhavahi kupe kama bikanam anaya prapatang prasangat kridvat masat sudashina bhagavan grihita soham katam navrisaje tavabritya sevam. This is none other than Prahlad Maharaj glorifying his most exalted spiritual master, Narada Muni. And Prabhupada is making this prayer because he was always in the mood of remembering his divine spiritual master. And I came across a letter recently, and Prabhupada was saying that, I'm like a moon. The moon has qualities of being dark and being very cold, but my spiritual master, he is just like the sun. And I am like iron, my Guru Maharaj is like gold. And we can see that Prabhupada was always in this mood of whatever glorification that came to him, he didn't touch even a fragment of it. He would bring it to his spiritual master. And there's a story actually. I heard my spiritual master tells this occasionally. It was in the era of intense Sankirtan in the 70s, and the devotees went to go visit Prabhupada in San Francisco, I believe. I think this was 74, 75. And they were doing really good on books. And they thought that if they went to go tell Prabhupada, he would, give them a little mercy, perhaps. And they were going to tell Prabhupada the scores, and Prabhupada was just simply listening. And one of the devotees, it was Keshava Bharati Prabhu at that time. He was a Grihastha. Now Keshava Bharati Goswami Maharaj. Maharaj told Prabhupada that, because they were doing so well, and they said, he said, it's all your mercy, Prabhupada. And Prabhupada became very serious, and he said, it is not. It is the mercy of my Guru Maharaj. And Prabhupada gave them instruction that my books are not just for reading. Actually, I've written these books for you to become pure devotees and to go back home, back to Godhead. So, it's important that we actually hear from the Srimad Bhagavatam and from the holy name, actually. These two activities are extremely important, and they should never be underestimated or neglected, because if we, by chance, happen to become forlorn, and perhaps we lose sleep at night because of our false relationship with the material world. Has anyone ever lost sleep at night because they had a false relationship with the material? Okay, Bhakta Mace. All right, I'm just making sure it wasn't me. It's not just me. Yeah. So when we are identifying with Maya, with illusion, then we become under the spell of thinking that we are this body, that everything I have belongs to me, aham mameti, etc., etc. But when we expose ourselves to the pages of the Srimad Bhagavatam, then our eternal relationship becomes established, and it becomes stronger and stronger. It becomes thicker. And we've somehow fallen into the illusion, but there's many statements actually. It seems like Bhakti Vikas Maharaj is doing a series about this right now. Is that right? About the fall of the jiva or something. It's a very controversial topic for those who aren't simple. Like Prabhu was making that point. But it's not necessarily bad that we're fallen. It's just if the problem is that if we're dishonest, that's the main thing. Because Krishna is very merciful, and he'll, lift up the most fallen. He's Patita Pavan. But if we're dishonest and we're not willing to hear our faults, then we're going to have some problems for sure. And we can understand, because in the mood of the devotees of the Lord, there's a beautiful pastime given in the Chaitanya Charitamrita of Advaita Charya and Kamalakanta Vishvas. And Kamalakanta Vishvas said that this Advaita Acharya, he has incurred a debt of 300 rupees. And I would like to see that, I get this money from Advaita Acharya. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard this and he became furious. And he said, he can't have any debt. He's Advaita Acharya. And so Mahaprabhu was very upset, and he chastised Kamalakanta Vishwas. And Kamalakanta Vishwas became very morose. And Advaita Acharya came and said, you're so fortunate. You're so lucky you got chastised by Mahaprabhu. He says, Mahaprabhu only treats me with respect, And he had to undergo this whole leela where Advaita Acharya had to preach Mayavad philosophy so that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would become upset with him. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu pulled him off of the Vyasamsana and started pounding him. And then Advaita Acharya's consort, Sita Thakurani, said, stop, you're going to kill him. Mahaprabhu was very upset. And Advaita Acharya became happy because he said, oh, finally, now it's seen that you are my Lord, But he was elderly to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But there's a message to learn from this, that devotees relish chastisement. And they see it that, oh, Krishna's pointing out my faults, thank you. It's generally coming from his representatives, like the Vaishnavas. And it may be hard, but we should see it as a great token of mercy. Devotees relish chastisement. It's kind of a short class, so I'll just make a couple more points. Recently, Vishnu Chitta Prabhu and I went to India to visit many different farms and Varnashram projects, and I have the great fortune of serving such a faithful grandson of Srila Prabhupada and a very loyal disciple of His Holiness Bhakti-Vikas Maharaj. And we went to Mayapur together, and we visited Bhakti Raghava Swami, who has been preaching Varnashram for decades. And Maharaj told us that you can't go a single page practically in Srila Prabhupada's books without coming across something about Varnashram. And Maharaj is coming up with this podcast called the Hidden Gems of Varnashram, Daivi Varnashram Dharma, something like that. Ali, I'm going to send you another little picture that we can read. Hopefully, this is, that's pretty tiny, huh? Can you zoom it? Maybe if it's eligible. I'll read this one. Despite all endeavors for peace and prosperity, they must try to see the cows and the bulls happy in all respects. Foolish people do not know how one earns happiness by making the cows and bulls happy. But it is a fact by the law of nature. Let us take it from the authority of Srimad Bhagavatam and adopt the principles for the total happiness of humanity. So, I've been listening to this lecture by Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, which was recommended to me by Sri Bangananda Prabhu, the farm manager at Kurmagram. And it's a lecture from the 90s. Bhakti Vikas Maharaj is speaking about Varnashram. It's entitled Uncharted Waters. And it's somewhat of a lonely world, Maharaj says, trying to establish this, because it's, it requires a lot of work. Just yesterday we were driving around Georgia, visiting different properties, trying to find the right tract of land for us to establish something significant for the pleasure of the Guru Parampara. And these are our main missions, books and farms. But they'll go on side by side and complement one another. And but now our main focus is the mass distribution of transcendental literature. And the Parampara wants this, Srila Prabhupada wants this. And even great Mahajans like Prahlad Maharaj, they're praying in the same way, that let me go into the busy cities. Who cares about the yogis in the Himalayas who are taking vows of mauna, who are silent? Let me go and help all of the lost jivas who don't have your shelter. And Prahlad Maharaj makes many beautiful prayers. And there's a wonderful prayer in the 5th chapter of the 7th canto. Naisham matis tavara rugramangrin sprishartanarta pagamo yadartaha mahiyasam pararajobhishekam niskinchananam navrinita yavat. That only when one does a abhishek with the raja, pararajobhishekam, of a devotee who's niskinchana, a devotee who's completely free of material contamination, only then will one be able to receive the mercy of the Lord. So we should always be eager to get the dust of the devotees and the sadhus, because the sadhus know how to please Krishna. And it's not just simply by touching devotees' feet will we get mercy. It's recommended by the acharyas that we should bathe ourselves with their instructions and with their intelligence, actually. So physical proximity, you get a certain amount of credit, but emphasis is given to the Vani of the Guru, of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to propagate the Sankirtan mission, and we're following in the footsteps of the Golden Avatar. And there's a verse that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was given to him by his spiritual master, Srila Ishvara Puri. How does it begin? Evam janam, no, evam vrataswa priyanama kirtya jatan narago dritachuta uchai hasyatyata rotati roti gayati unmanavan ritati lokabayaha. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu received this verse from his guru because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was saying, I think I'm a crazy person because when I chant this mantra, I just go insane. I roll on the ground, I cry, and jump up and down. And he came to his Guru Maharaj and said, did you give me the right formula? And he says, yes. We should follow in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya and become crazy for Krishna and share it with everyone. And there's a beautiful explanation found in that purport. Recommended devotees to look at that. It's considered the essence of the Srimad Bhagavatam, this verse. And there's a statement in there given by Madhvacharya, which it qualifies the quality of a devotee. A devotee can be known by two things: their steadiness and their merciful vibrations coming from their mouth. This is mukha prasad. So those are characteristics of an advanced devotee, and we should serve devotees in a very meek and humble way, because the devotees know how to please Krishna. And devotees who are lined up properly, they know that if I give as much sense gratification to Krishna as I possibly can, then I'll be truly happy. It's not the other way, where I'll enjoy my senses, or I'll make some situation here in this world where I'll be comfortable. But devotees are pushing hard to give all pleasure to Krishna. And Prabhupada would say that nothing for me, everything for Krishna. And there's a beautiful prayer, actually. Mitravan Prabhu knows this one. I don't know it yet, but this is from the 7th canto. I won't chant the Sanskrit, but Prahlad Maharaj is saying that when you decorate your face, you look in the mirror, then the reflection is also decorated. So by making Krishna happy, we'll also become happy. And it's a very simple formula. And whenever there are some issues or upheavals in our life, we can always refer to these two things of, am I chanting properly? Am I behaving with the devotees in a humble way? And am I hearing properly the message? It shouldn't be neglected because Prabhupada was losing sleep at night so he could give us these books. But I'll end the class. I'll just make one last point so I can give you guys some time if you want to give a reflection. But I was in India, and one of the leaders of the Krishna consciousness movement left recently, Gopal Krishna Maharaj, and they had a samadhi installation for Maharaj in Vrindavan, and there's about 10,000 of Maharaj's disciples there, which is just a fraction, honestly. What a powerful guru. And Maharaj carried his life with two principles. I am a servant of the devotees, and I'm afraid of Vaishnav aparad. Two very simple things that will carry us so far in our Krishna consciousness. And I actually wanted to end my class with reading this statement because I just sent it to you, Ali Krishna Prabhu. I got to plug in some mercy for the Varnashram project also. I don't know if you guys can read this. This font is pretty small. This is a conversation in 77. They're having a talk with Prabhupada. I'll just read this. And this is a very nice thing he said, Prabhupada. He said that we want to improve things in the countryside to an extent that people from the cities start running to the villages. Prabhupada, yes, that I want. Everywhere I go, I say, how these rascals, so much land is lying, and these rascals are not developing. And they are making, what is that? Coal. They are interested with these bricks and stones, not green vegetables. Such a rascal government, give them facility. We know how to do it. Anad bhavanti bhutani parjanya danasambhavaha yagnad bhavati parjanya. Let them engage in kirtan. There will be more water for gardening, and it will be moist. And then produce fodder for the animals and for you. And animal gives you milk. That is Vrindavan life. And they are absorbed in this so-called opulence. Krishna has taken birth. They are bringing so many nice, pleasant foodstuff, very well dressed and ornamented. These are a description. In the morning, we are reading how they were happy, the inhabitants of Vrindavan, with Krishna, and living and cows. That I want to introduce. At any cost, do it. At any cost, do it. And don't bother about big buildings. It is not required. Useless waste of time. Produce. Make the whole field green. See that. Then whole economic question solved. Then you eat sumptuous. Eat sumptuously. The animal is happy. The animal even does not give milk. Let them eat and pass stool and urine. That is welcome. After all eating, they will pass stool, so that is beneficial. Not that simple milk is beneficial. Even the stool is beneficial. Therefore, I'm asking so much here and there. Farm. This is not my program, Krishna's program. Anad bhavanti bhutani. Produce greenness everywhere. Vrindavan. It is not this motor car civilization. If it has taken in his brain, then it is to be understood that he can do this plan. He'll be able. Somebody said that he's eager to see me. In Nandagram, they have different quotes of Prabhupada written throughout the village. They have signs in the ground of different things like, it's not a motor car civilization. The devotees there are fired up about Varnashram. So I'll end my class if anyone has any comments or questions or corrections, reflections. It's 8:30. Prabhuji? You don't get any credit without the mic.
Pranam Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Quick question. Could you please give a definition on what is a ferocious round?
I think we should introduce him to Parameshwar Prabhu. Hearing every syllable. Because Srila Rupa Goswami says, I wish I had millions of tongues to hear these two syllables, Krishna. So all you have to do is just hear for a very long time from the right source and be in good association. Vamsi Prabhu?
You said this aspect of reading Srila Prabhupada's purports, regularly. So this point is like we read them, maybe mechanically we understand them also, means on the basis of, it's not on the basis of true gyan, but then it's like sometimes, it happens like because of our external situation, we get affected because of that situation, and then, that knowledge is just in that purpose, We don't follow that. Maybe we are into some service, so our service gets affected, or maybe our dealings with devotees, they get affected. So, how to get into that, getting the purpose in our life, actually.
Yeah. Shastra recommends that it should be nityam, regularly hearing nityam bhagavata sevaya. And Sutta Goswami says that shushushro shuddhadanasya vasudeva kataruchi syan mahat sevaya vipra punya tirtha nishevanat. That when you serve devotees, you get an ability to understand the Shastra. And when there's a sincere desire to understand the Shastra, it's non-different from Krishna. So I would say that the only ingredient required for that recipe would just be sincerity. A devotee just has to be sincere, and Krishna will most certainly help his part and parcel. But it is easy to become bewildered, but it just has to be done in a regular and done in a regulated way, so that it enters deeper into the heart, I would say. And yasya devi para bhaktir, that if you have faith in the Guru and in Krishna, implicit faith, then the purports will be etched into the heart, so that even in trying situations we can call on our intelligence and say, oh, well, I remember hearing this, let me exercise Krishna's instructions given in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So, it's not easy, but association helps. Anything from the Matajis? Okay, book distribution ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha, Paritanam Bhave.